At 15, I was hit by a car and thrown 3 meters through the air while trying to save my brother, who was standing by the roadside. When I woke up, both my legs had been amputated. Overnight, I went from being a gifted young dancer to a disabled person. After I lost my legs, my mother adopted another girl with dance talent to carry on her dance legacy, refusing to accept my disability. I threw myself into studying and showed strong business acumen, then a sudden fire left me disfigured and without hands. In the end, I died in a car accident because the fake heiress needed a kidney. Before I died, I heard the voices of my brother and the fake heiress. Great, she's finally dead, now she can't take everything away from us. After I died, she learned that my brother was actually a fake young master who had taken someone else's rightful place, and the fake heiress was his biological sister. They trampled over my remains, inherited my family's fortune, and enjoyed a life of luxury. Opening my eyes again, I was back at 15 years old. This time, I'll make those two bastards pay. Gilon, I heard a new cake shop opened on Huaraway Road. It's really cute and the cakes are delicious. Let's go check it out after school. Skip practice today. You haven't gone shopping with me in so long. Gilon, why aren't you responding? A pair of hands waved in front of my eyes. I blinked, a little disoriented. Hearing the familiar voice beside me, I turned to look. It was a young and tender and Ning, and the clothes she was wearing were a middle school uniform. Ignoring her words, I hurriedly asked, what year, month, day, and time is it right now? Tell me quickly. Startled, and Ning looked a bit confused but still answered, today is Friday, March 22, 2019, and it's 4:18 p.m. There's one more class before school ends. Gilon, what's wrong with you, apart from the date? I didn't notice anything else. I was reborn, back to the day in my past life when I saved my brother. In that previous life, right after school that day, my good friend and Ning invited me to go with her to a newly opened cake shop on Huaraway Road. A truck lost control, and I saw my brother standing by the roadside. I didn't have time to think. I rushed over and pushed my brother out of the way, but was hit by the truck and thrown 3 meters through the air. When I woke up, both my legs had been crushed into pulp, bones shattered beyond repair, leaving amputation as the only option. The truck driver, relying on his insurance, insisted that the vehicle had malfunctioned, since it wasn't a hit and run, and he even called an ambulance himself, maintained a good attitude, showed genuine remorse, and received Shinjili's forgiveness. He didn't end up in prison. After paying compensation and receiving a suspended sentence, he was free to go. Losing my legs was a devastating blow. I couldn't understand why the brother I saved by losing my legs forgave the person responsible, nor could I comprehend how my loving mother could find a replacement for me after I became disabled. Later, I realized that all the motherly love she had for me was built on the halo of a perfect, genius dance prodigy. My mother is a renowned national-level dancer. Since the day I was born, she was determined to mold me into her successor. After learning that I could no longer dance, she quickly adopted another gifted girl with the same dance talent, renaming her Shinjiyu, meaning the kindness of recognition, the discovery of a hidden gem. I was jealous. I made a scene, I went crazy, I fell into depression, but in the end, all I got was betrayal and abandonment by those closest to me. Later, utterly disillusioned, I changed course, studied hard, got into the best university in the city, and became a rising star in the business world. My father grew increasingly pleased with me. After all, compared to an unremarkable son, a disabled daughter who can neither bear children nor marry is the best candidate to manage the company. But my father's expectations also stirred my brother's jealousy. He teamed up with the fake heiress, faked an accidental fire, and burned my hands and my face. From then on, I lost all my value in my father's eyes. In the end, to eliminate any future trouble once and for all, they had the fake heiress pretend to have kidney disease. With the tacit approval of my father and mother, they ran me over, killed me, and took all my organs. After they killed me, my soul drifted for a year, and only then did I learn that my so-called good brother was nothing but a fake young master who had taken someone else's place. My real brother had been swapped at birth and sent to the countryside, and no one knew whether he was alive or dead, and the so-called fake heiress turned out to be the fake young master's biological sister. Together, they killed me and my real brother, then seized my family's property. Perhaps it was because of the intense hatred and resentment before death that I was eventually reborn back to when I was 15. 1 hour before saving my brother, I looked at her and gave an ambiguous smile. All right, I'll go with you, to watch Shinjili get crippled by a car. And Ning, who had thought she'd need to put in a lot of effort to convince me, was overjoyed. I knew Jilon, You've always been the best to me, and Ning truly was a good friend, in my past life. Perhaps out of guilt for suggesting we go to the cake shop, which led to me being hit by a truck, she cared for me immensely. In the end, it was her comfort and advice that helped me pull myself together and learn business. She was just a pawn in Shinjili's scheme, after all. Since what Ning loved most was desserts, I spent the entire class lost in a daze, my mind wandering. I kept wondering, is my real brother still alive? How can I expose Shinjili as the imposter? Was my past life a prophetic dream or reality? It wasn't until the bell rang at the end of class that I snapped back to reality and followed Ning to the cake shop on Huarue Road. Under normal circumstances, large trucks shouldn't appear in the city center, especially not on a busy street like Huarue Road. If a large truck still shows up in this life, it will mean I wasn't dreaming at all. I really did get reborn. This time I arrived early and waved to Shinjili, who was standing by the roadside. He wore an expression as if to say, "I knew you would come." I suppressed the hatred on my face and put on a smile. "Brother, what are you doing here?" "I came to buy some cake to take home. This newly opened cake shop has really delicious cake," he said. I've only now realized how clumsy his lies are. My mother and I were going to dance, so we wouldn't eat any cake. My father would either stay at the company or go out and wouldn't touch any dessert, and Shinjili never eats cake either. Sweets make him break out. Looking back now, this car accident was staged by him. Before we could even exchange a few words, amidst the horrified screams of passers-by, a large truck came barreling toward Shinjili and me. In my previous life, it was at this very moment that I pushed him away, only to be struck by a truck and flung 3 meters away myself, then run over by the same truck that couldn't brake in time, leading to the amputation of both legs. But now, I stepped back sharply and dodged the truck entirely. Having practiced dance for many years, my stamina, agility, and reaction time are top-notch. The truck brushes past me. Shinjili, with an expression of utter disbelief, is knocked 3 meters through the air, run over, and knocked unconscious on the spot. But he was a bit luckier than me. His lower leg and knee were crushed, whereas in my past life, my entire thigh was the one that got crushed. The truck driver turned off the engine, then started calling 120 from inside the cab, his expression as if he had already anticipated everything. He even pretended to look nervous as he got out of the truck to check on the situation, with no thought of fleeing the scene. But when he stepped out and realized that the person he hit wasn't me, but Shinjili, his calm demeanor visibly shifted into panic, and his hands began to tremble. When I saw Shinjili's mangled, bloody legs, all I wanted to do was burst out laughing. After Shinjili woke up, he saw me, mother, grandfather, and grandmother gathered around him. Father was very busy. He only came by for a look during the surgery and left after learning there was no life-threatening danger. The anesthesia hadn't worn off yet. Seeing so many people crowding around him, Shinjili was a bit confused about what was going on. Mother, wearing headphones and watching a theater performance on her tablet, only replied when she saw him wake up, "You're awake, Mom? What happened to me?" Shinjili asked. His mother didn't say anything. It was Grandma who started crying. "What a sin, my dear grandchild." It's okay, Shinjili doesn't yet know that half of his thigh is gone, and his knee is completely missing. Too bad the truck driver didn't hit him thoroughly enough this time, didn't manage to take out his upper body, including the third leg. I really want to make him a eunuch, and let the world have a little more AIDS. I was peeling an apple nearby. My mother noticed the apple in my hand, but instead of showing concern for her injured son, she lectured me. "Shinjilan, didn't I tell you not to eat fruit? Fruit has so much sugar. It will affect your figure." I didn't put down the fruit and continued peeling. "I'm giving it to my grandparents and older brother, hoping they stay safe and sound." My mother frowned. "There are caregivers to do these things. Don't peel fruit, don't leave any scars." I nodded. Only then did Shinjili notice me nearby. As the anesthesia wore off, his memories slowly came back. The scene where I dodged instead of saving him kept replaying in his mind. How are you? Fine." "No, that's not," he muttered to himself. I cut the apple, handed half to Grandma, and gave the rest to Grandpa, then smiled and said, "Oh, why would something happen to me?" Shinjili's lips twitched slightly, but he said nothing. Could he really ask why I, his kind-hearted sister who values family above all else, didn't push him away and save him, even if it meant becoming disabled myself? Nor could he say that because I was fine, it prevented his sister, Lu Jinhua, from successfully replacing me as the fake heiress. "Brother, even though you've lost both legs, don't worry, it won't affect your future." "So what if you had an amputation?" at least you're not dead." I struck straight at his heart, exposing his situation without any warning. Grandmother, who had intended to break the news gently, was furious. "Shinjilan, how can you talk to him like that? Don't provoke your brother." Shinjili's face was pale, a mix of pain, regret, shock, and disbelief. I ignored Grandma and put on an innocent look as I pulled up my school trousers. "Mom, I accidentally scraped my leg." Hearing this, Mom immediately put down the tablet, took my hand, and led me away. "How could you not mention something so important? You can't have any scars on your body. We're going straight to the dermatology department." I smiled at my brother. "Get some rest, bro. I'll be going now." Once I stepped out of the hospital room, my smile slowly faded. Was my mother worried about me because she loves me? No, it's not. It's only because I am her most perfect creation. Only when I achieve extremely high honors in the dance world will she consider me her daughter. She fears me getting injured because she fears me having flaws. Since I could walk, she has forced me to learn various forms of dance. Undeniably, she enjoys great fame in the dance world as Li Wenxia, the so-called Pearl of Dance, and she is also exceptionally skilled at teaching dance. I have been dancing since childhood, with no joint damage whatsoever, maintaining an elegant posture and exceptional dancing skills, but she had no maternal love for anyone, neither for me nor for Shinjili. In my previous life, after my amputation, I could no longer dance. She quickly adopted Lu Jinhua, Shinjili's biological sister, and renamed her Shinjiyu, a homophone for the gratitude of being recognized and cherished as her own biological daughter. I never received her care again. She would only call Lu Jinhua her real daughter. She was even the first to support their plan to have me donate a kidney after learning that Lu Jinhua had kidney disease and needed a transplant, and that I was a match. Li Wenxia only cared about dance. Her marriage to Shen Mingheng was merely a business alliance. My brother and I were just the fraternal twins she had through IVF. Not wanting to go through childbirth a second time, she went straight to IVF for a pair of twins, one for her and one for Shen Mingheng. The boy would inherit the family business, and the girl would inherit her dance career. Shen Mingheng was very satisfied with her attitude. She had given birth to twins, was good-looking, highly renowned, and never meddled in his extramarital affairs. The perfect wife. One kept the home flag flying high while letting the colorful flags flutter outside. The other was so devoted to dance her whole life that she never bothered with her husband's trivial matters. A match made in heaven. Now I want to see how Shinjili, who has lost half a leg, can force Lu Jinhua into my place while I'm still healthy. If he hadn't used himself as bait in the previous life, I really wouldn't have been hit by that car. After all, as a rising star in the dance world, I'm very careful with my life. After leaving the dermatology department, I told my mother I wasn't feeling well and wanted to go home to rest. She originally wanted me to continue training, but was worried that I might have injured my bones in today's car accident, so she insisted on taking me for an X-ray. After finding out I was fine, she tried to drag me back to training again. I told her that I was really upset because my brother got hurt today and didn't feel like training. Only then did she frown and tell me to go home and get some rest. She went to the dance studio by herself to continue the class. Indeed, a mother without love. After returning home, I checked the balance in my card. 5 million. This was what I had saved over the years. My mother wouldn't let me have the money, because she believed that if I had money, I wouldn't be able to control my eating and would ruin my figure. Compared to Shinjili's tens of millions in savings, this was pitifully little. I still ended up going online to find a private detective, spending a full $1 million on it, because there was so much to investigate: the background and history of the truck driver, the background and history of Lu Jinhua, as well as investigating the matter between Lu Jinhua and her biological brother. Finally, we also need to obtain all surveillance footage related to Shinjili from the past month, whether from streets or stores. This will be the main task. After all, accessing street surveillance is illegal, so it will cost a lot of money. Because of the large sum offered, the detective agency took the job and said they would send me the details in a week. If it turns out to be particularly difficult, they may ask for more money or extra time. That doesn't matter, as long as I can get to the bottom of this. Spending some money is fine. Actually, I don't really feel anything for my biological brother, to be honest. I'd rather he were already dead. After all, I'm planning to inherit everything in the family, several billion, you know. It would hurt to have to share it. Besides, I have no emotional connection with this so-called brother. After doing all that, the next day, while visiting Shinjili at the hospital, I plucked one of his hairs. Then I went into my parents' room and took a few strands of their hair to get a paternity test done. But my mother was already displeased because she hadn't gone to dance practice yesterday, and she called me several times telling me to come home quickly. Although my body is still 15 after being reborn, in my heart I'm already 25, having not practiced dance for 10 years, I've long forgotten how. There must be some muscle memory, but my proficiency is certainly not what it used to be. In the beginning, I can use my brother's injury as an excuse for my poor mindset, saying it will take at least a month to get back into the right headspace for dancing. If she notices my poor condition, she'll only make me take a leave from school and continue training until I reach peak form. I thought it over. Should I just run away, skip dance practice, and let Lu Jinhua walk right in, or should I continue dancing and prevent any possibility from happening? Thinking is useless. I suddenly laughed. Dancing has no future. The best reputation can get you is a few compliments. Only money is real. Only after showing talent in business in my past life and gaining partial control of the company did I realize how wonderful the taste of power really is. 100 times better than being some dancer. What I need to do now is destroy Shinjili's hands, add a bit more AIDS to the world, then cripple him below the waist so my father loses this son. That way, I can take over the family company. Even if he was just a fake young master, she didn't want the slightest unexpected complication. She knew very well that her so-called father, in order to put her mother's mind at ease, had vowed never to have any illegitimate children after the twins were born, and thus had undergone a vasectomy. Even if he had it reversed, having another child would take another 18 years, and by then, the company would already be hers. As for Lu Jinhua, well, better to keep her under close watch and find a way to take her out of the picture as well. Dear brother Shinjili, your own sister Lu Jinhua, I've brought her in here for you to play with. Thinking of this, I hung up on my mother directly, handed the hair samples to a private investigator, and asked them to run the DNA test for me, then went shopping on my own. It feels so good to have healthy legs. I started visiting the hospital from time to time to provoke Shinjili, making sarcastic remarks implying he's a cripple who will never stand up again in this lifetime. Then she comforted him not to lose heart, since at least his 2 ounces of flesh were still intact, which made him lucky. Otherwise he wouldn't be a man, or he'd just be dead. After I got home, I either had headaches or psychological trauma. I developed a love for sweets, milk tea, and all kinds of junk food like fried chicken, fries, pizza, and burgers. I stopped training, which gave my perfectionist mother angina from the anger. Not to mention, junk food really is delicious. She declared she would give up on me and find someone else to be her real daughter. My mother can't control me. The servants at home don't listen to her at all. My words carry more weight than hers, since all she ever thinks about is eating, sleeping, and practicing dance. Seeing my so-called family get angry is just too satisfying. A week passed quickly, and I finally received the paternity test report. I am biologically related to both my father and mother, but Shinjili is biologically related to father, but not to mother or me. Does that make him a fake young master now? If I say he is, then he is. I burned the paternity test and kept only the one between him and mother. Making him a confirmed fake heir is both simple and not so simple. Difficult yet not so difficult. First, move his household registration out, then get Shen Mingheng killed. Once Shen Mingheng is dead, he'll have no choice but to take a paternity test with his mother, which will prove he's a fake heir. As for the grandparents, the law doesn't recognize that. Who's to say he isn't actually the child of grandpa's illegitimate son? What does my father's estate have to do with it? I've never heard of a nephew inheriting it. Killing one's own father, that's also a good way. After all, her own father isn't exactly a good person. Lu Jinhua still came to my house. Ever since I started rebelling against my mother, she has grown increasingly disappointed in me. She had intended to restrict my spending, but guess what? I went to ask my father for his private black card and transferred 50 million to myself. I told him it was because of the car accident that I was feeling very upset and needed money, so he gave it to me. When Lu Jinhua entered, she was dressed in a white dress, with a slender figure, long hair reaching her waist. TSK, what a beautiful little innocent flower. But at that moment, I was sitting at the dining table, eating tiramisu, as expected of a reduced sugar dessert rushed over by air from France. It was truly delicious. Hello, sister, my name is Lu Jinhua. No, my name is Shinjiyu. Mom said I'll be living here starting today. She lowered her head and spoke in a soft voice, so quiet it was almost pitiful. Shinjili had already been discharged from the hospital. Seeing that I ignored him, he was very angry, and that hit-and-run driver, Shinjili, just like in the previous life, chose to forgive him, and because the driver had a good attitude and showed remorse, he received a suspended sentence, just like before, and didn't go to prison. Shinjilan, didn't you hear that? Your new sister is greeting you. Why are you so rude? Lu Jinhua quickly said. No, that's not it. It's just that my sister didn't have time to say hello, she wouldn't not welcome me. I don't mean to steal mom from her. After saying that, she even sneakily glanced at my mother and me. Tears were already welling up in her eyes, on the verge of falling but holding back. Still carrying a hint of defiance, I wiped my mouth and looked at her. Even though I was sitting and she was standing, our presence was leagues apart. It looked as if I were the arrogant one bullying her. Then I smiled and glanced sideways at my mother. You found this thing to take my place, not a very clever move. Were you planning to cry on stage and score some sympathy points from the judges? Seeing that I completely dismissed her, Lu Jinhua's eyes flashed with hatred. Provoked by my words, she immediately burst into tears. My mother looked at the hopeless Lu Jinhua, then turned to me, embarrassed and irritated, before finally directing her anger at Lu Jinhua. How many times have I told you? Is this your posture? Is this your attitude? How do you expect to step onto the top domestic stage, let alone the world stage, like this? Don't embarrass me. If you cry again, I'll send you back. Also, you said you're an orphan, so I've renamed you. You're now Shinjiyu. It means, the grace of recognition. You're the uncarved jade I've found. If you ever mention Lu Jinhua again, get the hell out. Her mother's words made Lu Jinhua's half-fallen tears stop. She looked at a loss. That's not how the plot was supposed to go. She felt that I should be the one getting scolded, and that she was the one who deserved to be pitied. At a loss, Lu Jinhua couldn't help but clutch her skirt, twisting it tightly in her hands. Shinjili felt sorry for his own sister and couldn't help but speak up for her. Mom, it was Shinjilan who was rude. Why are you blaming Jean, Jijia? Her mother didn't even bother to open her eyes and look at Shinjili. This son of hers simply did not exist in her world. Hearing his words, she let out a cold snort. A cripple like you, shut up. My adopted daughter is none of your business. She turned her head to look at Lu Jinhua, and upon noticing the movement of her hand, quickly struck it with a ruler. Lu Jinhua winced in pain, and tears finally streamed down her face. She said, so petty, you, come with me, you'll stay on the first floor for now. Only when you pass my tests will you officially become my daughter. Shinjili was deeply hurt by her mother's words, his eyes filled with gloom and malice. They all think this is my fault, yet I found it rather intriguing. See, I knew that petty and spiteful Lu Jinhua was not favored by mother. With just one casual remark, I moved from the third-floor secondary bedroom of my previous life to a ground-floor guest room. In her past life, this approach of hers succeeded only because I served as a contrast. The psychological trauma of losing a leg in a car accident, being unable to dance ever again, coupled with depression, jealousy upon seeing my mother begin to dote on another daughter, and the sense of betrayal from seeing the brother I had saved also side with the pretentious girl. All of this drove me insane. Otherwise, Lu Jinhua would truly be hard to stomach. Now, with someone as poised as me as a foil, throwing in the occasional sarcastic remark, she'll only face even greater training intensity from my mother. The private detective originally promised to send me the case file within 7 days, but it ended up taking a month. Only today did I finally receive a complete set of materials about Lu Jinhua. Along with surveillance footage related to Shinjili, the detective was thorough, even conducting DNA tests using hair samples from Shinjili and the truck driver, as well as from Lu Jinhua and the same driver. All surveillance footage of Shinjili and Lu Jinhua meeting with key individuals was edited, dated with clear summaries, and organized before being sent to me. They even found the grave of that baby who had died young, dug it up, and sent me some of the ashes, giving me such a fright that I shuddered. As expected from professionals, this is so convenient. It even includes the timeline. That 1 million was well worth it. Earlier, I casually asked if it was possible to take Shinjili out of the picture. The other party replied, how can he be castrated? Isn't he already crippled? I said, you offer this kind of service. The other party said, heh, times are tough making money. I've got some connections. But don't worry, we don't do anything illegal. I said, how about making him a eunuch? The other party replied with the number 100. I told him, 100 million to make the world a bit more AIDS. He agreed, it will definitely succeed within a month, and if he fails, he'll refund the money. Ah, the world is such a beautiful place. Let me check the DNA file first. The file shows that truck driver Lu Jianxi and Qin Suimiao had a daughter named Lu Jinhua. However, Shinjili has no blood relation to Lu Jianxi, but is biologically related to Qin Suimiao. The investigation file also shows that Lu Jianxi and Qin Suimiao had a son 15 years ago, but the child died less than a month after birth due to a high fever. In November of the same year, they gave birth to a premature daughter, whom they named Lu Jinhua after that, because both Lu Jinhua, born to Chen Suimiao, and her son who died young were premature. Her uterus was damaged, and she could no longer have children. In January of this year, Chen Suimiao met with Shenjili at a coffee shop. Chen Suimiao brought a report to Shenjili, and they talked for over an hour. The music in the coffee shop was too loud to make out what they were saying, but it was clearly captured on camera that the document was a DNA test report. Starting from that day, Shenjili and Chen Suimiao began contacting each other. On the third day, Shenjili met with Lu Jianxi, hugged him, and stayed in touch. In early February, Shenjili met with Lu Jinhua multiple times. Unfortunately, the surveillance footage had no audio. In early March, Lu Jianxi became a freight driver for the building under renovation on Hualei Road. On March 22, the truck's brakes failed, leaving Shenjili crippled. In early April, Lu Jinhua shone brightly in a school dance competition and was chosen for adoption by Shenjili's mother, and that was the end of it. I also came across a very interesting audio recording, a conversation between Lu Jinhua and Shenjili about how they planned to drive me out of the family so that she could become the heiress of the Shen family. Unfortunately, this conversation was nothing but wishful thinking. There was no talk of murder or any plot to replace a child with another. Unfortunately, the surveillance audio was too scarce to be used as evidence. I fabricated a DNA report showing that Lu Jianxi and Shenjili are father and son, planning to show it to my dear father at the right time. Lu Jinhua's life in my home was absolutely miserable. From the very beginning, she wormed her way into my family under the guise of an innocent little waif, aiming to win everyone's attention, but apart from Shenjili, no one paid her any mind. Even the household servants and nannies found her insufferably fake and pretentious. I turned on a TV talk show, which happened to feature the ageless goddess Ms. Qing sharing her skincare secrets, taking cold baths 365 days a year to keep her skin firm. My mother watched, lost in thought. That very night, she filled the bathtub with cold water and ice cubes, making Lu Jinhua lie in it to soak. She felt that soaking in ice water would certainly be more effective than taking a shower. This was to be done every day from then on. As for the worry about affecting her menstrual cycle, what does it have to do with her? That was Lu Jinhua's problem. She only needed to think about how to cultivate a dance superstar. Hearing Lu Jinhua's screams, mother had someone stuff a cloth in her mouth and said coldly, "What are you being so dramatic for? I'm doing this for your own good." Shenjilan never gets this kind of treatment. Shenjili wanted to step in and stop it, but I said lazily, "Brother, they're taking a bath. Are you trying to commit incest?" All the servants looked at him. He clenched his fists. I sneered, "This is nothing yet." I knew that after being rejected and abandoned by me, the perfect heir to her legacy as a dancer, my mother had gone mad. To surpass me, she would stop at nothing. After my mother came out, I turned up my phone's speaker, ate a fruit platter, and played content about how saunas and steam baths boost metabolism, help expel and break down impurities, make skin translucent, and keep bones flexible. Lu Jinhua, who had just taken an ice-cold bath and rested for less than an hour, was stuffed into the family sauna room. One moment she felt cold, the next hot, and she burst into tears, but her crying only annoyed her mother further, who then extended her sweat session. She was only let out when she was on the verge of passing out. After all, in the more than 10 years I've been here, the number of times I've shed tears could be counted on one hand. Let me think, when did they actually start setting me on fire? In my past life, I was 24, that was still too late. Now I want them to start the fire, and burn to death. My dear father, after all, in my past life, they dared to run me over with father's silent consent, and he was even the one who provided the venue and doctor for the organ harvesting surgery. After Lu Jinhua came out of the sauna room, there was another layer of hatred in her eyes for me. It was as if her being treated this way by our mother was all my fault. She didn't hate mother, only me. I stabbed a piece of mango and stuffed it into my mouth, my eyes full of provocation. Yes, her hatred was right on the mark. Shenjili looked at Lu Jinhua with pity. Lu Jinhua met Shenjili's gaze, her eyes full of grievance and resentment. I watched with interest. You really are siblings, unable to take revenge on me. Lu Jinhua started bossing the servants around at home, taking her anger out on them, as if she were the young lady of the house. In